more than that in pub. Not with a lie. We're still sucking it in. 1 minute.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Leigh Sports Village for today's Kingstone Press Championship round 17 match between the Leigh Centurions and the Featherstone Rovers. Quick rundown of the team news for you first of all, starting with the Centurions. One change from last time out. Ben Reynolds drops to the bench, or moves up from, drops to the bench from the halves last week. And in comes Travis Burns up from the bench to start at standoff. So the Centurions line up at fullback. Is number 26, Lee Smith. In the three quarters, number 2 is Adam Higston. Number 3 is Greg Worthington, a former Rover. Number 24 is Tom Armstrong. And number 5 is Liam Kay. In the halfbacks, number 38 is Travis Burns. He will partner number 36, Josh Drinkwater. In the front row for the Centurions, number 8 is Fui Moi Moi. And he'll partner number 10, Dane Weston. In between those two is number 32, Liam Hood. No Mickey Hyam, of course, he is suspended today. In the second row is number 16, Rennie Matua. And he will partner number 13, Corey Patterson. And the loose forward is number 11, Harrison Hansen. No Gareth Hock either for the Centurions this afternoon. He is suspended as well. On the bench for the Centurions, number 31 is Ben Reynolds. 37 is Ben Evans. Number 20 is Sam Hopkins. And number 35 is Brad Fash. And the Centurions coach is Neil Dukes. One change for Rovers from last time out. That victory last week at the Big Fella Stadium. Out goes Liam Blockley. And back in, a big boost for Rovers is the return of Jamie Foster. Liam Blockley missing out altogether. That is Rovers' only change. So they will line up at full back with number 1, Danny Craven. In the three quarters, alongside Jamie Foster, is number 2, Kyron Johnson. Number 15, Ian Hardman. And number 18 is Jamie Cording. As you heard in the halves from last week, is number 6, Kyle Briggs. And number 7 is Anthony Thackeray. The front row is number 8, Darryl Griffin. And he'll partner number 32, Jordan Baldwinson. And number 23 is Andy Ellis. In the second row for Rovers, number 13, Tim Spears. And number 12, John Davis, still ever present. And the loose forward today is number 21, Bradley Tagg. On the bench for Rovers, number 16, Colton Roach. 17, Jack Ormondroyd. 10, Andy Bostock. And number 24 is Robbie Ward. And today's match referee is Sam Ansell. Gives me the first opportunity to say for the afternoon. Good afternoon, Joanne.
Afternoon, Ben.
And your thoughts on the Rovers team, first of all, please?
Well, John Sharp's pretty much retained the same team as last week against Swinton when we came back in that second half after a tight first half, hasn't he? And the only change, as you've just alluded to, is Jamie Foster. Jamie Foster, there's some issues with his RFL registration paperwork last week. That's all been sorted now. So he comes in for Liam Blockley, who I thought had a decent game last week, stepping into Foster's shoes. But obviously we've got Foster back for the goal kicking and also his kickoffs from the centre field, from halfway, to restart the game. Now, we've got a few ex-Featherstone players, or 2 ex-Featherstone players in the Leigh lineup today. We've got Greg Worthington and Rennie Matua. And there's no ex-Leigh players in the Featherstone Rovers lineup. So there's not really any of that like old niggle, although Darryl Griffin has played with some of these players in his Salford days, of course, because there's quite a few ex-Salford players in that Leigh team. The bookmakers, I believe, are giving Featherstone Rovers a 20-point start on the coupon today. So the bookmakers aren't fancying Featherstone at all. We are the total underdogs for this game. But as I mentioned earlier in the week, even though they have brought Travis Burns in and they've got Josh Drinkwater in now, have Leigh, and they've got some quality players, they aren't without Mickey Hyam. And I think it'd be interesting to see just what an effect that will have on them.
That certainly could have a big effect on the Centurions. Just an interesting stat from our Rovers TV statistician, Mark. Since the start of 2014, Leigh Centurions have played 65 games. They've won 60, drawn 2 and lost 3. That isn't including playoffs or the middle eights. That just gives us an idea of the task facing the Rovers today. But with the injuries and suspensions of player missing out, Rovers must come into this game with some confidence, and they've got to play with no fear. They've nothing to lose today, haven't they?
I think the key thing will be for Featherstone to come out of those dressing rooms sharp and ready for action. That's what didn't happen in Blackpool. Halifax came out like that. We've got to come out like Halifax did against us at Blackpool. Halifax came out and they shocked us, and that's what we've got to do today if we stand any chance in this game. And what you've got to remember as well, down at Post Office Road in round 11, I think it was, we actually took Leigh Centurions really close in that game, and possibly we should have beaten them. We just lost out in the dying minutes of that game. And really, if you think about it, they are beatable. We have seen that, but they do have a habit of knowing how to win. And it is up to us to stop that happening, really. And they've been unbeaten since that first game of the season where they got beaten by Batley. And it was a shock, was that. And even though they've not played so well this season, they've still managed to win.
Indeed, they have. The only other defeat for the Centurions, of course, was a shock, I suppose you could call it, in the Challenge Cup when they were knocked out by the French side Toulouse. So 2 defeats this season. Looks like we are going to have a minute's silence.
And we will be paying respect with a minute's silence.
We'll return in a moment. An absolutely fantastic minute's silence there. Immaculately observed by both sets of fans. It looks like the Centurions are going to get the first use of the ball. They're playing from left to right if you are watching on the DVD. It is the Kingstone Press Championship, round 17. We're getting towards the business end now. It's the Leigh Centurions against the Featherstone Rovers. And Joanne, we're going to see what you alluded to a couple of minutes ago. One of these spiralling kickoffs from Jamie Foster, hopefully. It's caused so many teams so many problems since he's come with this kickoffs this season. And just how important is it for Rovers that they get a good start here, a good opening 10 minutes, contain the Centurions and try and build some early pressure both on defence and in attack?
Oh, it's crucial, isn't it? And what we need here, it was taken well, there was the ball, and what we need is for us to muscle up in defence here, good set of 6, keep them contained in their own half, make them kick it out from deep in their own half, and let us return the ball.
So here, great defence from Andy Ellis in the tackle, along with Brad Tagg. Here are the Centurions then centre field. Just short of halfway, but again, good defence from Featherstone Rovers. Brad Tagg again involved. Here's the most recognisable player on the field, Fui Fui Moi Moi. There's a kick over the top from Drinkwater. Danny Craven comes across and he will have to return it. That's a superb kick from Josh Drinkwater. Held up superbly. Made Danny Craven have to return it, and that's a good opening set for the Centurions.
Yeah, it was a good kick from Drinkwater, wasn't it? Down into that bottom left-hand corner. Danny Craven did well, though. He took the ball. Here's Jamie Codden. Featherston just struggling to get out of the 20-metre zone. They're muscling up in defence, Ali. Danny Craven did well not to get tackled behind that try line. And like I say, it looks like that's the last tackle. Tim Spears is going to play the ball. Goes to Danny Craven, who puts a kick in. And that's going to be fielded well there and returned by Lee Smith, who positioned himself well to return that ball. So Lee are going to spend most of this set of 6 in the Featherstone Rovers half, by the looks of it.
Here is Adam Hickson, just inside, on halfway, in fact. Plays the ball, and the Centurions are now in the Rovers half. Here's Corey Patterson. Hood moves that ball into centre field. Here's Dane Weston now. The ball's been lost, though. So that's the Centurions turning possession over just outside the Rovers 20. Rovers are going to get head and feed 25 out. So Rovers containing the Centurions on that set. And they have a chance again to try and build something from deep. And they just need a controlled set here. If they can get a kick in, get the yardage, get a kick in, turn the Centurions round. Danny Craven's trying one for Jamie Foster. Jamie Foster's chasing it. It's just run dead. It's a 40-20. That is absolutely outstanding play from Danny Craven. I've said this time and time again, Joanne. From the scrum, set deep, no fullback, no wingers drop deep. Danny Craven read that superbly and kicked an almighty 40-20. And Rovers have got a chance now in the Centurions 20 with head and feet at this scrum.
That was a fantastic move, a great plan move. How good was that to see from the scrum? Danny Craven kicked it down that left-hand wing, Jamie Foster chasing it, and it actually went and was a 40-20, and we're now 15 metres away from the Leigh line with Jordan Baldwinson driving it in.
Jordan Baldwinson then 10 metres away, centre field. Ellis, he'll find Briggs. Briggs to Tim Spears. Good defence from the Centurions, though. Rovers 8 out. Ellis waits. He's going to come back in field to Bradley Tagg now. Tagg runs at Moi Moi. Bit of a mismatch there. Size-wise, at least. Here's Briggs. Briggs. That bounces off John Davis. The ball comes loose. The ball's come loose again. It's going to be the first knock on. So it's going to be head and feed to the Centurions. But Rovers showing they haven't just come to roll over this afternoon. They're coming with a real intent. And that's been shown from that 40-20 and that set there.
It was a shame that pass just went awry there. It was from Zachary, I think, wasn't it? It was going forward to John Davis anyway. A bit similar to what happened with Moi Moi up the other end with Leigh. It would have been good to have completed that set of 6 there, but we didn't. However, Leigh went for the free play, and Leigh have now got a penalty. A little bit of messing around around the ruck there from Ian Hardman. So Leigh get the first penalty of the game, probably rightly so. We were trying to slow the play down a little bit, but what we don't want to be doing is giving Leigh easy meters. They're good enough at gaining those meters by themselves without any assistance.
So the Centurions then on their own 40 now. Hood finds Moi Moi. Moi Moi on the charge, but good defence from Rovers on halfway. Darryl Griffin, that was I was watching the DVD of the home fixture earlier on. That ball, is it going to run dead? Yes, it is. So Danny Craven will bring that back for a 20 restart. I was watching the reverse fixture this morning before I came out, And I have to say, it was that Daryl Griffin versus Moi clash at the Big Fella Stadium was a real clash of two giants there. Daryl Griffin had a wow of a game then. Here's Baldwinson now. Here's Bradley Tagg. Gets Rovers up to the 40. Here is Daryl Griffin on halfway. Plays the ball to Craven, who again kick from half back, turn to Centurions round. Thackeray's chasing. Thackeray just misses out on that tackle. But Danny Craven, at the moment, is kicking from acting half. It's causing the Centurions quite a few problems at the minute.
Another great kick there from Danny Craven, wasn't it? And we often see Kyle Briggs, and that's another penalty there. Unfortunately, the ball came loose. Referees said that it was actually stolen in the tackle by Kyle Briggs. I was just saying, we usually see Kyle Briggs putting the kicks in. Danny Craven certainly is putting the majority of the kicks in at the moment. And what a chase that was from Anthony Thackeray. A little bit of the work undone again there by giving a penalty away. We need to stop this because we're doing good plays, getting Leigh deep down in the half, and then in the ensuing tackles, defence, we're giving penalties away by infringements at the ruck, and we need to cut that out. Referee just being a little bit pedantic there, saying that the ball wasn't taken, the ball wasn't tapped in the right spot. Leigh pass it out to the left-hand side. Anthony Thackeray manages. Oh no, the Leigh players escaped there. That was Liam Kay that escaped away from the clutches of Anthony Thackeray, but Brad Tagg was there to mop up. Moi on the charge. Daryl Griffin meets him, but he still gets the ball away to that right-hand side. Jamie Foster going in for the tackle on Armstrong, and the ball is lost there by Dane Weston in the middle of the field. So that will be a Featherstone Rovers putting at the scrum on our own 40-metre line. So Leigh obviously making mistakes as well, aren't they?
Seems a bit of a nervous start from both teams at the moment. Leigh playing their normal expansive game, but the passes that would normally stick for the Centurions on so many occasions, just maybe one or two passes going loose. I was mentioning to Jamie before the game as well, Joanne, on that far side, Karen Johnson's wing is up against Liam Kay. I'd like to see those two in a foot race down the wing for the balls at some point this afternoon. Be interesting to see who will come out on top on that one. Rovers are going to have scrum head and feed on their own 40 now. Kyle Briggs will feed it. Again, there's no fullback drops back for the Centurions. But on that occasion, Rovers work the ball out to the back. Here's Jordan Baldwinson now. Championship Young Player of the Season last season, Jordan Baldwinson. Ellis, through the hands it goes. Here's Tim Spears. Good defence, though, from the Centurions. A lot of teams say that Leigh are a niggly sort of team, but they are so strong in defence as well. Here's Bradley Tagg. No, it's Daryl Griffin, sorry. Got hit by Fui Moi. Thackeray now finds Baldwinson, spins away almost from one. It's the last tackle, and Rovers are on the Leigh 40 now. Here's Craven. Tries to dink one through. Was he taken out off the ball? Happy enough was the referee. So Rovers there not trying to go for the depth on the kick. Here's Adam Hickson and the Centurions starting just inside their own 40, and with 10 minutes gone so far here at the Leigh Sports Village, it's still Leigh 0, Featherston 0. And it's been a frenetic 10 minutes, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been fast-paced, hasn't it? And a lot of the action going on in the middle of the field rather than at the ends. I think each team just taking measure of each other. As Harrison Hansen takes the ball forward, this is the last for Leigh, and they've just made it short of the Rovers 40-metre. And the kick comes in. It's a high towering one. Kyron Johnson takes it well, though. He never took his eye off the ball, and he makes it up over the to the 15-metre mark. And it passes out left to Danny Craven, who makes it to that 20-metre line.
So Craven plays the ball to Anthony Thackeray. Here's Jamie Cording now. Back in the centres today is Jamie Cording. Here's Baldwinson again. Rovers then up to the 30. Thackeray moves that ball out to Bradley Tagg. Great drive in from Bradley Tagg there. Rovers just shy of halfway. Kick from John Davis. And I'll tell you something, to say that John, a second rower with that kick, that is a pretty good kick. And look at that chase from Rovers. And John Davis is a second rower, but showing some great skills there.
And this is the quality that Featherstone Rovers have got this season, in that they do have quite a number of kickers. In the last 2 seasons, we've been reliant on maybe 1 or maximum 2 kickers on the park, haven't we? And already today we've seen kicks from Danny Craven and from John Davis. There's a knock on there. There's a knock on 30 metres away from the Leigh line. And it was Dane Weston that knocks that ball on. So Featherstone Rovers will get that scrum just short of 30 metres away from that Leigh line. Do you sense a chance here, Ben?
Quite possibly, I do, yes. So it is going to be a scrum down just outside the Centurions 30.
John Sharp shouting that there's something going on here because he's shouted to Foster to come over here as John Sharp.
A fancy might be seeing a set play from this scrum. Jamie Foster has come out a little bit wider than expected. Yeah. And Rovers, there we have it. We talk about it most weeks, Joanne. Rovers get their customary differential penalty there. The referee's saying we can go. The referee's saying we can go for 2, then changes his mind and says, no, you can't. So Craven puts the ball in for touch, and Rovers now with a great opportunity. In the Centurions 26 tackles. Here's Darryl Griffin, gets Rovers up to the 10. Thackeray breaks, puts an early kick in. It's picked up. Foster! A forward pass is given. Jamie Foster thought he was in then, but the pass was forward. I'm not sure he got the ball down anyway. I think he was bundled into touch, but Rovers, a planned move, I fancy there. Out towards this left-hand side. Rovers showing no fear, almost over in the corner, but good defence from the Centurions as well as a forward pass.
Yeah, it was an early kick, wasn't it, in that set of 6 that we went for, and it went sort of grubbed along the floor a little bit, and it was picked up, and that pass just out to Jamie Foster. Jamie Cording picked it up, and he was sort of like falling forward as he passed it, flicked it out to Foster, and like you said, I don't think he got it down anyway, but Leigh are having to bring it out from their own 10-metre line, just made it over the 20-metre. With Rennie Matua, the former Featherstone Rover, and here's Moy again. He's been putting a few runs in, not as hard running that time. He must be getting a little bit tired by now, I think, Ben.
Quite possibly he is. We are just coming up to 15 minutes gone in the first half here at the Leigh Sports Village. Still Leigh Centurions 0, Featherstone Rovers 0. And Rovers muscling up in defence. Here's Dane Weston. The Centurions fans away into the right are in good voice as well. There's a kick over the top, though. That's not a 40-20. It will find touch, though. That's another good kick from the Centurions. It was Travis Burns on that occasion, so it's going to be a scrum down to Rovers. Head and feed on their own 10, and with 15 minutes gone. It's a really good game, isn't it, Joanne?
It is, and Featherstone Rovers have seen their fair share of possession, haven't they? And also up at that end near the Leigh try line, which is where we want to be. And just going back to that set of 6 we had on the try line there, following the differential penalty. Some might criticise for taking the kick early in that set, but Leigh are a solid defence, and sometimes you've got to do something out of the ordinary to capitalise and to break through them. Just as we come out of the scrum there, and I think it's Jamie Cording there with it on the 10-metre line. Andy Ellis takes the ball, passes it out there to Brad Tagg. plays the ball to Andy Ellis again, out to Thackeray, to Davis, out to that right-hand side. He goes to Kyron Johnson, who is bundled into touch, unfortunately. Kyron Johnson, although the referee is signalling that it was Leigh that had touched the ball on its flight to Kyron Johnson, presumably. So well spotted, Ben. So that will be a scrum to Featherstone Rovers. That's great news.
Superb for Rovers. The referee saying that a Centurions player got a hand to the ball whilst the ball was in flight to Kyron Johnson. Kyron Johnson was pushed into touch, to be fair, but due to the fact that the ball was touched in flight by the Centurions, Rovers are going to get head and feed at this scrum. 35 metres out from the Rovers line. So Craven takes on the line himself. That's the first tackle. Cording has to duck for that pass, so lost a bit of momentum on that drive. Ellis comes down the short side with Tim Spears now. Adam Higston there with a swinging arm. The touch judge has seen that one, a swinging arm from Adam Higston. So he is going to be penalised, a high tackle. So a penalty for Rovers, and they're going to get another set of 6 in the Centurions half.
Absolutely no need for Adam Higston to do that on Tim Spears, right down in front of us here. Blatant swinging arm in front of the touch judge. Absolutely crazy thing to do, but all the more metres for us forward, and we're 30 metres away from the Leigh line with Jordan Baldwinson driving it in.
So Rovers just inside the Centurions 30 now. Ellis spreads it out to Thackeray, to Craven. Craven gets Ian Hardman through a gap. Rovers now just outside the Centurions 10. Ellis, Thackeray again. Finds Briggs. Briggs on the bounce, and Foster just can't take it. Kyle Briggs, the pass there, not the best. If it had been a better pass, you fancy Foster would have had a clear run to the line. Unfortunately, a pass on the bounce in front of both Cording and Foster, and the ball going into touch, but Rovers turning it over again inside the Centurions 20.
Yeah, it was a really fast pass, wasn't it, from Kyle Briggs? That a speeding pass went in front of Jamie Coddy. We've pushed at the scrum there, and I think we might have got the ball. It's a knock-on. Leigh have got the put-in. It's a knock-on by Featherstone, unfortunately. Leigh player there throws the ball at a Featherstone player, so I think the referee might have a little bit of a word with him. But yeah, that was a push from the scrum. That was great play by Featherstone, just didn't come off. Oh, differential. So Leigh get up to play the ball out on this right-hand wing. Higston takes it in. He's tackled by Baldwinson. And Griffin turns around, gives a penalty away. Yeah, it was a good old-fashioned turtling there by Darryl Griffin. He was trying to slow play the ball down there as Higston was trying to get up, and he did the good old-fashioned spinning turtling thing.
Spinning turtling thing?
It's a technical term, that.
Okay, fair enough. So here are Centurions just taking the tap inside their own half. Here's Moy now. But that Rovers defence at the minute is really matching up to the Centurions man for man. Here are Leigh into the Rovers half, though it's worked out wide. But that Rovers defence again scrambling across, able to complete the tackle. Here we go then. Centurions with Dane Weston. Slow play the ball from Leigh. Through the hands it goes. It's a pass out wide. Adam Higston. Higston against Craven. He's in touch. What a tackle from Danny Craven. For a minute, Higston had managed to elude the tackle and get the ball down. But the touch judge's flag went straight up. And Danny Craven, so far, has kicked a stunner of a 40-20. A try-saving tackle, and with 20 minutes gone, This is a really good match.
Yeah, 20 minutes gone. It's still 0-0 here at Leigh Sports Village, and Danny Craven exhibited classic full-back play there. Higson had an acre of space, and I was just saying in the background that we were light on the defence out on our left-hand side. Leigh had spotted that. They made a move, and Higson was through. Danny Craven didn't panic. He just held back and measured him up and made sure that when he put that tackle in, that it went into touch. So Rovers bringing it away now with John Davis. We're on our own 20-metre line. Just got over that with Darryl Griffin, who takes it up to 30 metres as Mai comes in to finish Darryl Griffin off.
So Rovers, not the best play there. Here's the last tackle now. It's Craven. He'll put boot to ball. Oh, Liam Kay juggles with the ball. Manages to hold on. But that's a great step from a Centurions point of view defensively. And they're starting off on their own 40.
Great tackle from
Ian Hardman there with the tackle. Centurions don't like it. Here's Moi. As Darryl Griffin goes off and on comes Andy Bostock. That's a good pass inside there by Burns. Here's Hansen. Centurions 35 metres out, centre field. Burns again, inside pass to Patterson. Great tackle though by Jamie Cording. A second effort, didn't need to do it. That was an outstanding tackle. And then a second effort and it's thrown away all that good work.
How frustrating that was, because it must have been going towards the fifth tackle that, and Jamie Cording came up with an excellent tackle, but he just had a second dig. John Sharp not happy with that at all at the side of us. I can hear him, and that's putting Leigh in the ideal situation, and you just feel that Leigh might press this advantage home here.
Here goes Moi on the charge. Rovers defence clamouring around him. 3 in the tackle. Long pass out wide, and it's Liam Kay who gets that ball down for the Centurions. The try is given. All that off the back of a penalty conceded by Jamie Cording for the second effort. The long pass out wide. Karen Johnson went to try and take the ball, but it was just over his head. And Liam Kay had a walk in. And with 17 minutes left here in the first half. So after 23 minutes, we said that Rovers had to contain them and man up in the opening period. They have done that. But the first try has gone the way of the Centurions. It's Leigh Centurions 4, Featherstone Rovers 0.
And I was just saying, wasn't I? I could tell that things were, Leigh had sort of like gone up a little gear, and they were starting to sort of in the rucks. They were starting to be a bit fiercer with Leigh, and you could tell that things were turning a little bit. But we'd done well as that conversion is successful by Travis Burns. We'd done well up until that point. Jamie Cording had come up with an absolutely fantastic tackle. It was going to be the last tackle on that play, but he gave that penalty away for just that second dig in the tackle, which he didn't need to do in all fairness, because Rovers were set in defence, and that gave them another set of 6 within the 10 metres line on the Featherstone line, and I just felt that Leigh were going to score there, and indeed they did. It was a good looping pass over the top of Kyron Johnson's head, and Liam Kay managed to go in at the corner there, and Travis Burns has added the extras, and we've got Jordan Baldwinson leave the field during that play, and Jack Ormonroyd has entered, and he is involved in that first tackle on Moi.
Great opening stint from Jordan Baldwinson, has a well-earned breather now. So the Centurions with the opening score. But Rovers just need to control the set now, keep the discipline. They can get over this Centurions line.
Substitution for Featherstone, 17 Jack Roy, replacing 32 Keola Paul.
That pass a little behind there. Centurions now on halfway. That's an awful pass along the ground to nobody. And Andy Bostock's come up with it. Bostock got Ellis in support. That was awful from the Centurions. Quick play the ball. It's Andy Bostock again. Picks it up, attacks in halfback and goes himself. There's a penalty for Rovers. I think that's for offside. Yes, it is. What the Centurions are doing, I do not know. But Rovers are going to get a chance now to hit straight back here. Here's Ormondroyd.
It's important we do hit back as well.
Thackeray now shows it, goes himself. Thackeray is a metre away, but Moi with the tackle. Ellis finds Craven. Craven on the bounce. Oh, that's awful. Is it a knock-on? Yes, it is. The Centurions knocked that forward, so Rovers escape. They're going to get head and feet at this scrum. And Joanne, Rovers got with an opportunity here to hit straight back.
And it's really important that we do hit. We need to get over that whitewash. It's really important that we do it. There's something going on here. Jamie Foster and Kyle Briggs in back play behind this scrum are having a chat. Kyle Briggs passes it to Jamie Cordin, who takes it up the middle, 12 metres out away from that Leigh line, although Jamie Cordin manages to get it over the 10-metre. Andy Bostock drives towards those posts. He keeps his legs pumping. It's 3 metres out, and he's going to play the ball to Andy Ellis. Andy Ellis gets it out to Briggs, who passes short to Thackeray, who gets to Davis, and that's a great tackle coming in there from former Rover Greg Worthington.
Ellis! Andy Ellis! It's over from Atsin halfback. Rovers have hit back. We were just saying a minute ago how important it was for Rovers to get over that line. And then the great play, moving the ball out to that right-hand side. Held up just short, and then Andy Ellis with the trademark scoot. He scored last week against the Swinton Lions. Another trademark scoop from Atsin halfback. Rovers hit back, and with a kick to come from the kicking machine of Jamie Foster, hopefully. It's Leigh Centurions 6, Featherstone Rovers 4, with a kick to come, Joanne.
And that gap for Andy Ellis to scoot in from acting dummy half there was created by that play that went out wide to John Davis. Greg Worthington had to come in to make an excellent tackle as it was, but it had left a little bit of space for Andy Ellis to take that ball and do his trademark special of just scooting over that try line. And I said how important it was to get over that whitewash, and by goodness, what a response that was.
A fantastic response to that Centurions try. So Jamie Foster's conversion. Hits the post.
Still got 23 goals.
23 for Rovers this year. What should have been a straightforward conversion has hit the upright, but Rovers are back within 2, and it's Leigh Centurions 6, Featherstone Rovers 4.
I think I put the mockers on Jamie Foster, saying we'd got the kicking boot back, hadn't I? Because that was shocking, really, to hit the post and not get it over from that position. Leigh kick off now deep, and it's taken well by Anthony Thackeray, who passes it to Ormondroyd, who brings it forward to about the 20-metre line, the Featherstone Rovers 20-metre line, that is. Plays the ball to Ellis, brings it out to Bostock, drives it forward, makes a further 5 metres. Again, Ellis in acting half, passes it out to Brad Tagg, just making progress in a few metres stages here. Goes out left to Ormondroyd again. Another 5 metres made on the 4th tackle.
Ormondroyd plays the ball to Danny Craven. Thackeray drops the pass off to Brad Tagg again. Here's the last tackle. Rovers just outside the 40, so it goes back in field. Craven from inside the 40. Hasn't got the angle on the kick, but he does turn Adam Hickson round, who has to return from his own try line. A good chase from Rovers, starting on the 20 of the Centurions. And one thing we didn't mention, Joanne, in about that, the build-up to that try for Rovers was the contribution from Andy Bostock in the build-up. 2 or 3 really powerful drives that got Rovers in the position under the sticks for the ball to be played out wide, and he had a big impact in the build-up.
Certainly, yeah. Just as Leigh bringing it up there, up to their own 40-metre line. Dame Weston takes it up to halfway. Andy Bostock and Andy Ellis in the tackle there. Goes out to the left, and it's kicked forward there by Josh Drinkwater. It's fielded by Kyron Johnson. Brings it over the 20 metres. Just pushed back though a couple of metres. Billy Mallinson on the field, bringing out some water and instructions, I guess, in back play.
Craven attacks in half-back. Here's Brad Tagg. Foster, sorry. He's coming off his wing. Colson Roach is on for Rovers. I didn't see who went off. I think we're going to see Robbie Ward momentarily as well. Ellis. Craven. Again inside his own 40, but it's centre field. Rovers fans appealing for a knock-on. I don't think it was, to be fair. Leigh Smith, though. Centurion starting 35 out. Up to the 40 go Leigh, but great defence from Rovers again. Ellis encoding in that tackle. Centurions just short of halfway. Here's Worthington. Through the hands it goes. Here's Patterson. Looking for the offload, and it was on, but good defence. Referee saying the tackle was completed, and then Jamie Cording just grounding the player, so...
Late on it tackle count again.
Late in the tackle count. Rovers need to be careful. They're having some really good defensive sets and then conceding penalties at the wrong times in the tackle count.
Yeah, it's brought Leigh to sort of 15 metres away from Featherstone's line, so we're in dangerous territory again, and they're killing us at these penalties at the minute, and they're 5 metres away now, Leigh. Looking dangerous. Like I say, it goes out to Travis Spurs. It's a short one to Peterson. Leigh fans think he's got over. It's actually a forward pass. And I did think that it was a suspect pass. Well done, the official there, for spotting that. Leigh fans don't like it, but from where I was sat, it certainly looked a suspicious pass. But it was Travis Burns who put that pass into Peterson. Looked all the world for going over. He did get over that line, but it was a forward pass. So Featherston survived that one. We've got the put in on our own 10-metre line as we're just finding somebody to go in at loose forward at this scrum. Referee telling the players to pack down properly. Carl Briggs goes around the back of the scrum, passes it to Ian Hardman, who is clattered by it. Harrison Hansen on the 10-metre line there. But he survives, and Jack Ormonroy takes it up to the 20-metre line. So, and we've got a penalty for offside, I do believe. Rennie Matua there, offside. Referee spotted him. He was stood in front of the 10 metres that the referee had set out. So that's a relieving penalty, isn't it, Ben?
A great relieving penalty. Centurions were looking strong in defence in that set, but a great penalty. And what a distance that's travelled as well. Rovers are going to have a full set here in the Centurions half.
Roach is on for Tagg. Tagg's gone off for Roach.
It's Bradley Tagg who's gone off for Rovers. We've got a clash of heads. It's for Rovers. I can't see who it is for Leigh. Davis looks to be okay. We've got a Leigh player down.
Davies has got a late head, hasn't he?
We've got 5 minutes left here in the first half at the Leigh Sports Village. Davis looks to be okay. The lead player is flat out on his back. But just whilst we've got a stoppage in play, Joanne, full credit to Featherstone Rovers for the way they're playing this afternoon. A lot of teams have come here with game plans obviously in mind, but the Centurions have rolled them over. But the Centurions, as at the Big Fella Stadium, they know they're in a game this afternoon.
They certainly do, and Liam Hood it was that clashed heads with John Davis, and it's a medical substitution because he's having to leave the field, and he certainly knows he's in a game. And at the same time, Harrison Hansen comes off the field for Leigh, so a couple of interchanges. Liam Hood goes straight down the tunnel, obviously suffering from that head clash. John Davis is okay though. Rovers 40 metres away from that Leigh line. We're on the second tackle, and Tim Spears takes it in, makes it up to 30 metres away.
Robbie Ward is on for Rovers. Andy Ellis has gone off. Here's Colton Roach now.
That's a penalty.
An untidy play, the ball, untidy tackle, should I say. Craven's going to put a kick in. I think it's just too much on the kick. Clever idea from Danny Craven. The fullback hadn't dropped back. The gap was there, but just a little bit too much on the kick. Meaning the ball ran dead in the in goal, and Centurions with a tap on the 20.
Yeah, if he could have just put a little bit more backspin on that and slowed that kick down when it hit the turf, it would have been better, but it sped away, didn't it? And Kyron Johnson's fast, but he certainly isn't that fast. It's an early kick.
An early kick, it's a 40-20. It was an attempted 40-20 from Travis Burns. Unfortunately, sailing out on the full. So Rovers are going to get a scrum here. Head and feed. Rovers are going to get a scrum, head and feed on the Centurions 40, and a chance to build another attack, and we're inside the last 5 minutes. And how Rovers would love a try before half-time.
Certainly would. You know, I mean, even 6-4 at half-time is excellent, isn't it? But yeah, let's go for it, lads. Come on, Thackeray goes out to Craven, out on the right side. Little bit of a move there in Harmon, but he's wrapped up well out on that right-hand side by Rennie Matua. Gets to his feet, does Harmon a little bit slowly, and Jack Ormonroyd takes it. There's arms all around his head there. Jack Ormonroyd on the floor. He's not very happy with that, the attention that he got in the ruck. Colton Roach now taking it up. That's the third tackle. Rovers 25 metres out. He's going to play the ball to Robbie Ward. That goes out to Andy Bostock. Bostock passes quickly to Jack Ormonroyd, who has the ball stolen by Rennie Matua. The experience of Rennie Matua showing there, and his strength as well. He's a very strong player. Managed to pinch the ball off Jack Ormonroyd there. So it's a shame that came to nothing, but what we need to do is keep Leigh down at this end of the field. Craig Worthington.
Here's Craig Worthington for Centurions. Going back into the old habit a little bit there.
Oh!
They've gone without the ball of Leigh. It's a knock on. That's great for Rovers. You were mentioning about making sure we kept the Centurions down here. Get their scrum set. We've got 6 tackles in the Leigh 30, and what a bonus 6 tackles in the 30 that Rovers, I fancy, won't have been expecting. Fuifu Moimoi, interestingly, has come back on just before half-time. I think maybe it's had a bit of beef in defence, I don't know. But Rovers are going to have 6 tackles in the Centurions 30 here, and a great opportunity. Ward finds Briggs. Here's Cody, and Rovers have put the ball down. It's a free play for Leigh. And Rovers have bombed the chance.
Oh, on the first play, that was terrible. Andy Bostock there with a swinging arm as it looked, but I think it was over the shoulder there. Referee certainly agrees with what I thought, and Ben Reynolds takes it forward. Leigh are now 30 metres away from the Featherstone line. So where we thought we were going to have some possession in our own in the Leigh 30-metre area, and we're just, the ball has been lost there by Leigh. It's been lost by Ben Reynolds. A little bit of perhaps too fancy things there from Lee Smith. He was dodging around, and and doing some sidestepping, and then he passed to Ben Reynolds, who just wasn't prepared for that ball at all and put it to the floor. So actually Featherstone Rovers are going to get a put in, so we get the possession back. But just going back to that chance we had there to spend the last sort of 2 minutes of this half up in near the Leigh try line, and bombing it on the first tackle. We do need to make sure that we're not doing those kind of things. We just need to keep our composure in those situations, because Leigh certainly aren't keeping the composure in those situations neither today. So we've got a great chance here.
So here, Rovers then. That looks dubious tackle, shall we say. That's a hospital pass or what, I don't know. Robbie Ward from acting halfback. Here's Thackeray now. Shows it once and finds Bostock. He's had a massive impact since he came on as Andy Bostock. Ward's going to kick from acting half. That's over on that far side. Here's Liam Kay. We're into injury time on my watch.
Was that stoppage for the clash of heads?
There was a stoppage, yeah, stoppage for the clash of heads. So we must be coming up towards half time at least. Here's Worthington.
Legs.
And the Centurions now just short of halfway. Moy against Robbie Ward. What you would expect. Little versus large, and Robbie Ward with a great tackle. And here is... so no penalties, says Jamie. And the penalties conceded. Leigh are going to take the 2 here, I'm sure. And what a time to concede a penalty. We're close to half-time. The referee is calling out the captain, I think, yeah. It's going to be a warning. It's just saying calm things down. I think the next time they might be on a team warning. Have a word with your team, sort it out is the message.
And count 6 forward.
As far as I get it, yeah.
John was saying something similar.
Yeah, I've got 6 forward.
I'm not that worse, much worse than them. On a team warning.
Won't be a team warning, I don't.
What's the call here? The referee has not signalled that Centurions are going for goal, but they are. Normally, yeah. Normally you see the signal, but no signal came. So it's 35 metres out centre field. It's certainly kickable for Travis Burns, and so close to half time. This is just what Rovers didn't need after such a good half. As Travis Burns' kick has missed. Oh, right on half time. Travis Burns misses with the conversion. And what a first half it's been from Featherstone Rovers. Just the 1 try each in the first half. As the teams make their way off, it was a try for Liam Kay for the Centurions, converted by Travis Burns. It was Andy Ellis for Featherstone Rovers who went over from acting half. Foster couldn't convert. And then right on half time, the Centurions, Travis Burns missing with a penalty from 35 metres out. Joanne, it's a lot tighter than a lot of people crave us credit for. Even the bookies were saying, giving us a 20-point head start. But Rovers at the minute are looking good value for the money.
We've come here to play, haven't we, Ben? We've come here on a mission and showed Leigh what we can do, and just a bit unfortunate that when we've got up there into that Leigh area, we've spent an awful lot of time up in that area of the field because of the clever play to get there. But it seems as though just when we've been getting there, our completion's not great. I don't think we've completed many sets of 6 near that Leigh line, and part of that is because we're trying to be inventive and trying to force Leigh's hand, because we know what a good defence they are, and you have to try different things to get over that Leigh try line. And And maybe that's part of it, why our completion rate isn't as great in that area of the field. But still, you can't take anything away with the effort that Featherstone Rovers have put in this first half, and Leigh look a little bit shell-shocked by it.
They do indeed, and the forwards especially for me have stood out for me. In that opening 20 minutes, Jordan Baldwinston and Darryl Griffin were both putting in really big efforts in that opening 20. And then you're talking about that, and then anybody, and then you bring off the bench Andy Bostock, Jack Ormondroyd, and Bostock was really influential for Rovers in the build-up to our try as well. And they're really making an impact, aren't they, the forwards? They're not allowing Leigh to get on top in that battle.
They certainly are, and what you have to add in there as well, and this was what happened right from the beginning, is Danny Craven's kicking. I've been really impressed with Danny Craven with the boot today. He's been doing the majority of the kicking, hasn't he, in play, and I've been really impressed by that. The other thing that we have to think about is, have we tired Leigh because of the amount of tackling and the percentage of possession that we've had in that half? I'd say we are slightly winning that. They've had to do a lot of tackling of Leigh in that first half. They are a full-time team, of course, so they should be fit and be able to cope with it. But I guess I wonder what will happen. And the other thing in attack, they seem quite flat, Leigh. They don't seem to be clicking at the moment, and it is up to us. We've got a great chance here in this second half, but it's in our hands, and what we have to do is make sure that we take advantage of that.
Indeed we do, and it is half-time here at the Leigh Sports Village. A lot closer than a lot of people may have thought. It's Leigh Centurions 6, Featherstone Rovers 4. Welcome back to the second half here at the Leigh Sports Village. Half-time score of Leigh Centurions 6, Featherstone Rovers 4. And what an almighty effort made by the Rovers at half-time. And what a 40 minutes we've got in store. What an opportunity Rovers have got here. If they can get the first points of this second half, they're in with a real shout of this winning this game, Joanne.
Well, the Leigh are going to kick off to Featherstone Rovers. They're playing from left to right of Featherstone, and what we need is a clean take and a good set out. We're here to start this second half off, and it is important to get a good start in this second half. As the ball bounces, Kyron Johnson takes it though, as it bounces back up, takes it up to the 10-metre line where he's wrapped up by Rennie Matua, and Ben Evans goes out to Jack Ormonroyd, who pumps his legs up to the Featherstone Rovers 20-metre line.
Here's Colton Roach then, centre field, gets a great drive in, gets Rovers another 15 metres. Robbie Ward waits, centre field, he'll go to the left. Here's Andy Bostock. He had a great spell in that first half. He offloads to Robbie Ward as well, who makes another close to 15 metres and gets just shy halfway. It's Kyle Briggs who waits, attacks in half-back. He'll find Craven. Here's Andy Bostock. As Ben Reynolds. There's a kick through from Rovers. The late, what looked like a late tackle on Briggs.
Might not see so much kicking from him this half.
So here are Leigh, though. That's good defence from Rovers. A good first set in the second half for Rovers, and now looking to pin the Centurions back deep. Here's Matua. What a hit by Davis. And Colton Roach, and Ian Hardman. Adam Higston now. Through the hands it goes. Burns moves it out wide. Fast hands, but what a hit! Jamie Cording, what a tackle. Helped out by Kyle Briggs. Here's the last. It's a kick for the corner. The Centurions will take that. So both sides with sets, I think they'll be reasonably pleased with at the start of the second half. It's going to be head and feet to Rovers on this scrum on their own 20.
That was a really, really important hit there by Jamie Cording out on that on the left-hand side of defence for Featherstone Rovers, because Leigh were going out to that right-hand side of their attack. They'd got some numbers over and looking a little bit dangerous with Peterson out there. He's a big, strong guy, isn't he? And Jamie Cording just felled him like a tree. It was great stuff. Some good hits in that set of 6 as well. And in the end, the kick came from Leigh down that right-hand touchline, and it just drifted into touch. So Featherstone putting into this scrum on their own 20. Jamie Cording, the man who came up with that great tackle earlier, just takes it over the 20-metre line in the middle of the field, plays the ball to Robbie Ward. Jack Ormonroyd takes it up to 30 metres, plays the ball quickly to Robbie Ward, goes to Colton Roach, who goes back to where originally Ormonroyd was, and he spills the ball. So that's not how we wanted to end that set of 6, really. And again, we were talking about completion rates, weren't we? And that will be disappointing. That gives Leigh an advantage with a scrum 35 metres away from the Featherstone Rovers line.
You fancy the first score in the second half is going to be crucial in the way that this game is going to go. Yeah. The Centurions are going to have the first opportunity to get that first score. Disappointment for Rovers in the way they turned the ball over. But if they can man up in defence the way they did in that first half, who knows? And here they are now on that first tackle.
Lost the ball.
Leigh have lost the ball. It's Liam Hood, so Leigh Smith, who's lost the ball. So great for Featherstone Rovers. And I said it a minute ago, Joanne, the first score in the second half is crucial. If Rovers can get in front, that'll give them such a huge boost.
That was a great tackle on Leigh Smith by the 2 ever-present players in Featherstone Rovers this year. That's Ian Harmon and John Davis. They both went in a pincer movement on Leigh Smith, and he managed to cough up possession, giving the play back to Featherstone Rovers. And what we need to do is make sure we keep hold of this ball now, get into the Leigh half preferably. Tim Spears takes it up to 40 metres away from the Featherstone Rovers line. Just got 10 metres short of halfway line. Colton Roach takes it up to that halfway. He plays the ball. Robbie Ward passes it out to the right-hand side to Danny Craven, who puts the kick in, floats over the top of Kay, and it holds up in that dead ball area. That's a great kick. So Leigh Smith, having to bring it away from his own try line, makes 5 metres before he's tackled by Hardman and Davis. And Featherstone Rovers should keep it clean here and keep this defensive line straight and keep Leigh down here, all being well.
What another outstanding kick that was from Danny Craven. His kicking game has been absolutely immense this afternoon. Good drive in though from Leigh, and good defence by Roach. And Robbie Ward came to help out, and Rovers hunting at the moment. There's an offload. Here's Moy through. Moy against Ward, who does well to hold on. Plays the ball quickly. Here is it. Oh, if Rovers could have just taken that pass. It's a forward pass. Oh, that's a big call. I'm not so sure about that one. But Joanne, what an opportunity. Bombed by Leigh there, but scrambling defence from Rovers.
Yeah, I think it was possibly Travis Burns, I think, that put that pass in there. It looked to float forward, to be honest, and that's why, and Jamie Foster, I think it was, who caught hold of the ball but couldn't quite hang on to it. Rennie Matua with a little bit of a high shot there, I would say, on Ian Harmon as well. So yeah, the referee pulled it back for the forward pass. So we got the scrum there, 40 metres away from our own line. We've got Colton Roach on the second tackle, just made it up to halfway, he plays the ball to Robbie Ward. It goes out to the right. Jack Ormonroyd is tackled well, but that was a good quick play, the ball there. Thackeray to Davis. It looked like a forward pass, did that, from Thackeray to Davis, and I do believe the referee has spotted it, and it was a forward, was that?
So both teams with forward passes in consecutive sets. Cries of "you don't know what you're doing" from both sets of fans in 2 consecutive sets as well.
I think the Featherstone Rovers fans were doing a bit of a Mickey take of the Leigh fans there, because when the referee had called up for a forward pass before, the Leigh fans were all shouting, "You don't know what you're doing." And so even though it was a blatant forward there by Thackeray, Rovers fans were doing a little bit of a Mickey take back to the Leigh fans. All good banter.
Substitution for Leigh, number 11, Chris Hanson, replacing 16, Rennie Matua.
As Rennie Matua goes off, here's Fui Moy with a great drive. Back on comes Harrison Hansen. Moy gingerly plays the ball there. Smith finds Liam Kay, but great defence from Rovers. Had to be careful, they didn't drag him into touch and did well not to. Through the hands it goes, here's Burns now. Hansen, that's great play. Harrison Hansen. Danny Craven with the tackle. Are the Centurions over? No, they're held up. Jack Ormonroyd's down injured. The Centurions are held up, and I think the referee may have just called for a turnover. And the Rovers fans are in fine voice away to our left. A superb effort in defence there, though, Joanne, to hold the Centurions up.
It's clever play though by Leigh in that attack, showing why they are top of the table. There was some good play. The pass to Harrison Hansen was a nice short one, but what footwork he showed for a big guy did Hansen as he went forward through the team. And but certainly Danny Craven came in with a fantastic tackle on Harrison Hansen, and then the defence muscled up and managed to stop the player getting over. I couldn't quite see which Leigh player it was, but I think it could have been Ben Reynolds, and they held him up over the line, and it certainly cheered the Featherstone Rovers fans. Jack Ormonroy's gone off for a concussion assessment there. He got steamrolled a little bit by Harrison Hansen when he was running through at full pelt, so he felt the full force. He's just leaving the field quite slowly. It is the turnover, so massive defensive effort by Rovers there. Danny Craven's going to play the ball right on his own line, and I guess Leigh are going to come at great speed at him, Ben.
An outstanding effort in defence from Rovers. A lot of work to do, though, to get out of their own 20 now. Here's Andy Bostock. So Jack Ormonroy will have an assessment. He's got 15 minutes. Baldwinson is the man who's on. He had a really good spell, and it's a penalty. The Centurions fans away to our right, so I'm not happy at all. But Featherstone Rovers have got a penalty. And I'll tell you something, Joanne, Rovers are in with a real shout at this at the minute.
Leigh fans are never happy, Ben. Come on, unless it's going their way. So yeah, they weren't happy with that penalty that went against them. And that is a brilliant kick there from Featherstone to take it up to halfway. The tap's taken. Tim Spears runs forward, but is met by a wall of red and pushed back to halfway line. Ball goes out to Baldwinson, who is met by Moi Moi. He takes him on, though. Only goes a few metres. It's a battle of the forwards at the moment as Bostock now drives it in. He pumps his legs. Both sets of fans in great voice and having a bit of chanting matches. It's a great atmosphere, isn't it, here at Leigh today? Tim Spears takes it in, passes it to Bostock. Bostock passes it out to Thackeray. Thackeray gets it to Colton Roach, who pumps his legs forward to the 10-metre line. So Featherstone Rovers 10 metres out, Ben.
Under the sticks, and Colton Roach looks to be hurt. So the clock is going to be stopped, is it? No, he gets to his feet. Is he going to play the ball? No, the referee has stopped the clock. Colton Roach does look to be very groggy at the moment. You just see it getting some treatment from the physio. But Rovers are in a great position, right under the uprights. And what an opportunity for Rovers.
Colton's all right.
Colton Roach is okay. Robbie Ward waits. Referee waits, play back on Briggs. Cording. He's had a good game for Rovers again. Here's the last tackle now. Ward goes left to Briggs. Briggs kicks through. It's taken well by Leigh, though. A great takeover on that far side. Here come Leigh now. Trying to spread the ball out wide. Is he away? No, he's just held on. Robbie Ward just tackling Ben Reynolds. And this game's really starting to open up, Joe, now.
But that's the difference between Featherstone and Leigh, isn't it? They've made a full 20, 30 metres away from where the ball was turned over. Whereas if that happens with Featherstone, we're relying on penalties to get out. And you've got to say they are a class outfit out of the ball was kicked there, and I think it looks like it's going to be a penalty where that ball landed. And I'm not sure if one of our players could be in trouble. I didn't quite see who caught the kicker of the ball late there. But that's going to be a penalty to Leigh on the Featherstone Rovers 20-metre line. So that's not good news neither.
Time is called off. The referee is in conversation with his touch judge. Tim Spears having a word with his team.
Colton Roach has still had some attention as well, so he's not right.
Travis Burns looks to be okay.
original. Yeah.
So the Centurions are going to have a penalty on the Rovers 20. 6 tackles in that Rovers red zone, if you like, as they call it in Australia nowadays. With 13 minutes into the second half, Rovers' defence so far has really matched up well to Leigh. Reynolds from out in half-back though.
Hansen.
Here's Harrison Hansen, he's 3 metres away.
It's going to be a massive test, this, isn't it? Oh, gap.
Greg Worthington is over. You were just saying it was going to be a massive test of the Rovers' defence. Rovers' defence not able to keep them out. And the Centurions have the first score of this second half. And it's a question now, Joanne, of how can Featherstone respond to this? We talked about Rovers needing to score first in the second half. They haven't done that. And it's a question now with the conversion to come. It's a 6-point lead now with a kick to come. If Travis Burns can kick this, it's a 2-score lead. It's Leigh Centurions 10, Featherstone Rovers 4.
Yeah, it was always going to be a tough test of that Featherstone Rovers defence, wasn't it? Once that penalty was given, where the ball landed after the Leigh kicker was taken out late, and 20 metres away from the line, they do have that strength and skill as Travis Burns misses another one. So that remains 6 points. The difference. Well, sorry, that is 6 points. The difference between Leigh and Featherstone Rovers at the moment. It's Leigh Centurions 10, Featherstone Rovers 4. So Travis Burns doesn't seem to have his kicking boots on today, much to Featherstone's advantage. Like Ben's just said, it depends how Featherstone Rovers respond to this. And the best response is to score like we did before with Andy Ellis, who got a try a couple of minutes after they'd scored their first try in the first half.
A massive next 10 minutes or so in this contest, this game for Rovers now. If they can keep up their composure, good defensive sets, put the pressure on, they are in with a really big chance of still being in this game. A 6-point lead is nothing in rugby league, and the net score in this game is crucial. Here are Centurions now. Darryl Griffin has come back on for Rovers in place of Andy Bostock. And Leigh Centurions are now on the 40-metre line. On the last tackle. There is the kick. By Drinkwater, Karen Johnson takes it.
No!
Wow. I don't like it when Featherstone Rovers do this. What are we doing? Nevertheless, Craven's away. What do we know, Joanne? Featherstone Rovers.
Should have got done for that.
Here's Kyron Johnson now. Over halfway he goes. And there's a penalty. And what do we know, Joanne? We're criticising Rovers there for moving the ball across the own 10-metre line. And in the end, in 2 tackles, we're inside the Leigh half.
Fantastic play there by Featherstone Rovers, weren't it? Kyron Johnson took the ball there, passed it across the face of his goal to Danny Craven. It went out to Jamie Foster, who got it back to Craven, who was then in space and made it up to the 40-metre. I felt a penalty should have come earlier as they pulled at his foot, but then the penalty came on the next play as the Leigh fans just shout forward there. But it was a flat pass, I guess, as the ball is played out to Kyle Briggs, who takes it to the right. John Davis, 10 metres out, 8 metres away from the Leigh try line now. The ball has come loose. It's a knock-on. It's a knock-on. Surely John Davis wouldn't knock on there, although he's not appealing to the referee. He's got his hands on his haunches. You do feel that maybe it was a mistake, that, and a big mistake it was too.
What an opportunity that was for Featherstone Rovers. If not to score on that set, at least to try and force a repeat set. Keep the pressure on that Leigh line. As it is, it's going to be a scrum down on the 10 to the Centurions. They bring the ball down this short side. Couple of players dropping off tackles, but Darryl Griffin doesn't. That's great defence. The referee shouts held. There's the play of the ball. Not something I'd want to do myself. Kay, if I was Liam Kay, trying to man up to Griffin. Ball's worked out to the left to Patterson. Burns with a drop-off pass, but good defence though from Rovers still. They've restricted the Centurions to their own 40. There's a 40-20 attempt from Reynolds. It's gone just the wrong side of the 20, so it's going to be a scrum down head and feed to Rovers. But as you said, it's still a good kick, and Rovers have got a long way to go.
Yeah, it was a clever kick, that, wasn't it? Just short of that 20-metre line. But we've still got that to bring this ball away from our own 20-metre, and the Rovers forwards not rushing to form the scrum here, showing a little bit of tiredness, I guess. So the ball is going to be put in at the scrum, comes out the other side, passed to Jamie Cording. Cording tackled quickly there on that 20-metre line. Leigh defence sharp. Colton Roach with a great drive, makes 10 metres there, does Colton Roach. So he's recovered from his early injury. What's going on here? Dane Weston, for some reason, as Colton Roach tries to play the ball, goes after him, and goodness knows what went on there. He saw red, I think, and the touch judge is on the field. I'm not sure what went on there to rile Dane Weston, but you can't just go doing that, can you, Ben?
Silly play from Dane Weston, just giving away such cheap yards. He's asking the question, what is asking, what are you talking about, referee? I haven't done nothing wrong. But hang on a minute, he's just gone at Colton Roach for no reason at all and conceded probably, we talk about silly penalties to concede. That's probably the most stupid penalty I've seen conceded for a long time. And again, we talked about Rovers making the yards off, from penalties. Rovers will take these every day, and they're going to be starting 35 out.
So we've got a great chance here, Ben. We need to keep hold of this ball for a complete set of 6, force another set of 6. That's what we need to do. It's simple.
What we need to do is to score a try. But if not, another repeat set, like you say. Andy Ellis is back on for Rovers. That's good news. Here's Baldwinston. Gets Rovers into the 20. As we've got 20 minutes left here at the Leigh Sports Village. That'll do us very nicely, thank you. A penalty given for a high tackle. So Rovers are going to get 6 tackles in the Leigh 20 now. And this, with just under 20 minutes left here at the Leigh Sports Village, should I say. There's Colton Roach wins another penalty. And I'll tell you something, it's starting off now, it's all kicking off.
Colton Roach drove that ball in. There's obviously an issue between Leigh and Colton Roach. The referee gave a penalty to Featherstone straight away, and Leigh have all piled in, and there's a bit of handbags down there on the pitch. Just as Featherstone were due to be attacking at the Leigh line, it's all kicked off.
What Rovers have to do now, Joanne, is not get drawn into this. Keep the composure, keep the cool. This is the way that Leigh play. When things aren't going against them or when they're under pressure, they resort to the dirty tactics. They resort to the spoiling tactics. And Rovers have to keep calm and rise above this.
Referee and the touch judges are discussing just what course of action to take next. I think they're having a little bit of a mini report on the field there, because it's important that Mr. Ansell gets the next course of action right to prevent this turning into, and it's Harrison Hansen being called out by the referee alongside I can't quite see who knows. I don't think it'll be a card. I think he's talking to them for too long. He'd have sent them straight. He's saying the next thing, you know, in the bit. It's Dane Weston, and he had an issue with Colton Roach previously, didn't he? So not sure what he's playing at here. We're going for the 2 points. So I've just heard John Sharp shouting down 2. So is that a wise move? Because that means that we're within 4, and if the next, and we've kicked it very quickly as well. That means that the next score, we go in front. It's positive play, I guess, positive thinking.
Possibly. What it does, it keeps the pressure right on Leigh. Jamie Foster's very, very quick taking off that penalty. And Rovers have written a real head of steam, and what they're doing really well at the minute, Joanne, is getting under the skins of the Centurions. And we've still got 17 minutes left. If Rovers can keep their composure, keep this pressure on Leigh, they've got every chance of winning this game.
I'm just thinking that this last 17 minutes is going to be very, very tasty out there, and it's who keeps their cool the most that will win this game. As that kickoff comes, Anthony Thackeray makes a mess of it. It went back. No, it didn't go backwards. Unfortunately, Thackeray made a mess of that. So it's going to be a put-in at the scrum to Leigh on the Featherstone 10-metre line. Oh, my goodness. That was the worst outcome that could have happened there.
You take the 2 points, you get your team back to within 4 points. What the first thing that must be done is get the ball back, complete the next set, get a good kick away. Rovers can't even get the ball back, and now we have got, down comes the rain, and we have now got 16 minutes left and a massive set of 6 in the context of this game. Drinkwater works it out wide to Worthington. And the rain is bucketing down at the moment. Burns.
Ben Evans, that.
Ben Evans. Good defence from Rovers. They're manning up at the moment. Burns just takes it, tries to dink one through. Ian Hardman, that's great defence. Outstanding. Took that goalkeeper style almost. And Rovers survive, and now it's about, for Rovers now, it's about keeping the ball. A penalty would be very nice, please, Mr. Referee. Look at that defensive line from Leigh. Rovers fans don't like it. There's another good tackle. There's the penalty we wanted. There's the penalty that Rovers were desperate for. Because you have to say, on those 3 or 4 tackles, Joanne, Rovers made barely any metres at all. And now a great relieving penalty. And the way Danny Craven's been finding touch, and does again, Rovers are starting a metre inside the Centurions half. With 14 minutes left. Cording takes that first drive in himself. Ellis has a scoot himself. Kyle Briggs moves into acting half. Ormond drives back on for Rovers.
Come on.
Rovers are just outside the Centurions 20 now. Ellis, Darryl Griffin, Thackeray. Goes himself! Thackeray! Rovers, have we bombed it? It's a dropout. Oh, that's a big call. That's a big call from the referee.
That was great play by Anthony Thackeray. Sidesteps to one side, sidestep to the other. He actually released the ball backwards. The Leigh fans are going mad. I don't know why. They obviously don't understand about the ball going backwards, but that ball looked to go backwards. It was picked up, well, kicked forward. Leigh kicked it dead, and it's gone for a dropout. I don't think it were a big call at all. I think it was a right call.
Right or wrong, actually a big call in the context of the game taken by Ormondroyd. Rovers are starting just outside the Leigh 30. Here's Darryl Griffin now. Gets Rovers up to the 20. Ellis. Thackeray again. Passes behind everybody. That's going to be back to one. Johnson drops on it. Sensible play.
40 metres out though now.
Kyron Johnson did the right thing there though. What a hit by Harrison Hansen.
Tell listeners we're 40 metres away now though. Tell them we're 40 metres.
30 metres out now, Rovers. After that loose pass, but the tackle count was wiped clean. Briggs now. Darryl Griffin driving those legs. Get Rovers back up to the 20. Inside the 20. Plays the ball to Ellis. Briggs. Thackeray takes the passes. Well wrapped up though. By 2. Ellis. Craven's going to put the kick over.
No. 20 metres.
Too deep. It's going to be a restart on the 20. And here come Leigh now with a quick tap. And Rovers, man up in defence, concede no penalties. This game is winnable. Here's Liam Kay.
He's a good player,
Liam Kay is an outstanding player. A good drive that was. And Leigh are up to halfway. That's great defence from Featherstone Rovers. Leigh just inside the Rovers half. Burns. The ball's worked out to the left. What a tackle from Anthony Thackeray. Drinkwater puts a kick over the top. Good finds touch. That's a great touch finder. Great play, but what a match we have got now. And with 10 minutes left, Joanne, I would not like to try and call this game.
No, you just get the feeling that Leigh just have that upper hand. When they get the ball, they're making good meters forward, aren't they? But certainly we had them a little bit scared there with those 2 sets of 6 back there. And it was a great kick there by, I think it was Drinkwater, wasn't it, for that scrum to be taken on the Featherstone Rovers 10. We're holding it in the scrum. They're pushing. We need to be careful here. Andy Ellis gets it out to Ian Hardman. I think there were a few screams from Featherstone Rovers fans behind the post there. I think it made them a little bit worried. Goes out to Jamie Cording, trying to get away from that 10-metre line. He plays the ball to Ellis, goes to Tim Spears, who takes it out to that left-hand side wide. He's picked up and carried. Eventually, referee shouts held. Struggling to get out, and this is the difference, like I said before, between Featherstone and Leigh. Leigh easily able to get out of their own half, whereas we tend to struggle and rely on the penalties to get out. So we're 30 metres away from our own line. It's the last tackle here. We need a great kick, and that comes from Briggs, who goes to Thackeray. Thackeray passes it, catches it, kicks it out to the right. Kyron Johnson chases. The ball holds up in the dead ball area, and the chase is on. Davis gets him, they're pushing back. That is an amazing piece of play by Featherstone Rovers.
Absolutely outstanding play from Featherstone Rovers. A superb piece of play. As Andy Bostock is on for Darryl Griffin. But Rovers, Anthony, a chip over the top. A chip over the top by Kyle Briggs, which Thackeray took. Thackeray put a kick towards this right-hand side. Held up beautifully in goal. And Rovers able to force another repeat set. Leigh have got a player down. It's Corey Patterson. We've got 8.5 minutes left. It's still Leigh 10, Featherstone 6.
Leigh playing the old man tactics here. Corey Patterson, as soon as that ball went dead, he decided to have a sit down on the floor. There's absolutely nothing wrong with him. He returns to behind the try line now. He's just held play up a little bit. And as he walks back to the try line, he gives hands up to the Leigh fans as they all cheer. So come on, Featherstone, come on. Let's quieten this Leigh lot.
There's the penalty.
Drop out. No.
Oh, no. What are we doing? What on earth are we doing?
Yeah, let me explain because people are listening. So the dropout, Kay, it was an excellent dropout. It went a fully 60, 70 metres, went over the head of Kyron Johnson. He tried to take it. It's ended up going into touch, I'm afraid, listeners. And Leigh are going to get a scrum 30 metre away from the Featherstone try line. And it's those sort of things that are a coach colour, aren't there? To be fair, it was an excellent dropout there, wasn't it, Ben?
A superb dropout, like I say, over the head of Thackeray. So it's too deep for Thackeray to take. Bounced awful for Kyron Johnson, close to the touchline. He just couldn't take the pass. And now Leigh, Ben Reynolds finds Moi. Is that the game breaker, perhaps? We'll find out in a moment. As Reynolds waits, attacking half-back. Finds Harrison Hansen and Leigh attacking that Rovers line now. 3 metres away, it's moved infield.
Oh, here we go.
Here are the Centurions. It's great defence from Rovers, swarming round though. Reynolds from acting half-back. Through the hands it goes. Burns shows it twice. Through the hands of Patterson. It's out to that far side.
Oh, he's lost the ball.
The ball's been lost by Tom Armstrong. So it is going to be head and feed to Rovers. We're still in this match. And we've got 5.5 minutes left here at the Leigh Sports Village. I don't know if you've even thought about man of the match so far yet. That could yet be decided in the next 5.5 minutes for Rovers. Still, with 5 minutes left, who would have thought? Now, Leigh Centurions 10, Featherstone Rovers 6, and over the course of the 2 games that we've played against Leigh this year, we really have given them probably the best games they've had, I think.
Yeah, apart from Batley beating them at the beginning of the season, but oh my gosh, it's just been so close today. Ian Hardman breaks through the first tackle and he makes it up to 30 metres away from the Featherstone Rovers line. What a great run by Ian Hardman there, made fully 20 metres. Bostock brings it up now to 40 metre line. And there looks to be a bad collision there between Bostock and the Leigh player, who I can't quite see who it is. I think it's Ben Reynolds. And I think, again, it's another head clash. There's been a one already this afternoon where Liam Hood had to leave the field for Leigh. And both sets of doctors and physios are on. Both players not looking too cracking out there, it must be said.
Indeed not, and it has happened just shy of the Rovers 40 on the second tackle. So whilst we have got a break in play, Joanne, we're just under 5 minutes left now. It's been a really, really outstanding performance from Rovers in many ways. Who's your Rovers TV man of the match this afternoon?
I was just going to say, can I reserve it until nearer to the end of the game, please, Ben? Because I think we've still got a lot to play in this game. And like you said, there could be twists and turns yet to come. So hopefully there will be twists and turns yet to come. Ben Reynolds gets back to his feet. Bostock still sat on the floor looking a little bit. He's sat up. He's been helped, though, by the physio and Billy Mallinson. That must take some strength. He's not looking good at all, isn't Andy? As he's led off the field by Billy. Doesn't look as though he knows exactly where he is. So Jordan Baldwinson's going to finish this game with Featherstone Rovers because Andy certainly won't be coming back. And that's a big blow to Rovers, really, going into the final stages of this game when we're chasing that 4-point deficit down. But to bring Jordan Baldwinson on, it's not such a bad thing. And one thing we should mention while we've got a break in play, it's Jordan's 48th game for Featherstone Rovers today.
Closer as 50. Here he is with a great drive in. Gets Rovers just shy of halfway. Briggs. Drop off past Colton. Roach has come on as well. For Rovers, he sneaked on. I didn't see that happen. Oh, flat pass there. So Briggs puts boot to ball. That's well trapped though by Leigh Smith. And here's Hickson.
Need to keep them down there.
Rovers need a real strong defensive set now. No penalties. Here's Matua. Worthington, but the difference, you mentioned it a few times this afternoon, the yardage that's being made. Here's Harrison Hansen. And in 4 tackles, they're just short of halfway. Patterson almost through a gap, but good defence. Here's the last.
Whoa, is that out of Yes.
Yeah, no. So a good kick for Leigh. It's going to be head and feet to Rovers on their own 20. We're inside the last 2 minutes. Still all to play for Rovers. Do we try what we tried in the first half?
Oh, I think it could be a little bit. I mean, I'm guessing that they'll be wise to that move now, and could be disastrous if it didn't come off. And Leigh got back hold of the ball. It depends, because there has been some stoppages. What I should say, when we say there's 2 minutes left, that's from our own stopwatch. We haven't got access to the RFL stopwatch or any clock here at the ground. So actually there might be a little bit longer with the stoppages when Corey Paterson was down with the dropout. And so got Rovers bringing it away now. Brad Knowles tag over the 40-metre line, and he plays the ball really quickly to Ellis. That goes to Craven. Craven's over the halfway line. 3. John Davis juggles with the ball. It goes to tag. It's a knock-on. The referee's given a knock-on. Not entirely sure why that was a knock-on there, but Leigh get the put in. Oh, dear.
I'm not so sure that was a knock-on. And neither is John Sharp away to our left. As Fui Moi Moi is named the Centurions man of the match. John Sharp not happy with that call at all. But it is going to be scrum down head and feet. The question is now, time is up on our watch here. How much time is there left on the timekeeper's watch? Here's Liam Kay. And the Centurions making the yards again. That's Adam Hickson. It's a great drive. Burns. Through the hands it goes. Here's Harrison Hansen. He's one who's had another good game. Centurions 25 metres out. Comes left with Drinkwater. Inside pass to Matua. Good defence from Rovers. Last tackle, Centurions 15 in from the left-hand touchline. Drinkwater drills it into touch. So it's going to be a scrum down head and feed. Rovers need to set the scrum quickly. Set it quickly, they do. So time is called off. And Joanne.
Yeah, I think as time's running out, we need to talk about man of the match, don't we? I mean, again, all 17 players of Featherstone Rovers today played with their hearts on their sleeves. They've really played for the Featherstone Rovers badge today. They've really battled in this game. And it's a game that we could have won. In fact, we still could win it if we can get up to the right end of the field, but we are within our own 30-metre line. For me, man of the match today is just because... Oh, and we've made a mistake there. Adam Hickson kicks it forward. It could be a Leigh try. Armstrong scores. That is the game. that is the game there for Leigh. We were trying to force the pass out to the left, out wide, and unfortunately Leigh get that score in the far right-hand corner as the ball was went to ground. So as we were talking about the man of the match for Featherstone Rovers there, Leigh came up with the play to put this game to bed. The man of the match I was going to just mention there was Danny Craven through the kicking game. I thought his kicking game, especially in the first half, was excellent.
So Danny Craven is the Rovers TV man of the match. And it's Tom Armstrong with the try. Rovers trying to force the pass. But in the end, didn't work out. The ball's come through to Leigh. But I'll tell you one thing, Joanne, the Centurions may have won this game today, but boy, do they know they've been in a battle this afternoon.
They certainly do know they've been in a battle, and Featherstone Rovers fans still singing Featherstone Rovers, we love you, and we do love them because they've really tried hard this afternoon. They've battled. They've come to Leigh Sports Village and they've stood up to the top of the table team, the team that has won 60 out of their last 65 games, or make that 61 out of their last 66 games. So, you know, I mean, it was going to be a formidable task anyway, and Featherstone Rovers have tried their best. Just been so unlucky, really. A few places where we've not completed the sets in places where we should have done, but it's not been for lack of effort, and that's what we wanted from Featherstone today as we go for that short kick-off that Kyron Johnson pats back. It goes back to John Davis, goes to Ian Armand, so we do get the possession back from that kick-off, but it's a little bit too late.
Andy Ellison from outside half, that finds Bradley Tagg.
Just to mention that Bradford have won 29-22 at Workington, and until the last few minutes, it was 22-22 there as well. So things not gone right for Rovers. In the other game, Jordan Baldwinson is through. Jordan Baldwinson takes it up, keeps his legs pumping. He's 5 metres away from the Leigh line.
Baldwinson, quick play the ball to Ellis. Yes. Tag! Bradley Tagg is over for Rovers. It's in the hands of the timekeepers, and Rovers want this quickly. So quickly, in fact, that Jamie Foster's taken the conversion already and kicked it. So it's Featherstone, it's Leigh Centurions 16, Featherstone Rovers 12. Is this game over yet? Leigh, as you can imagine, taking the time getting back. They're in no rush. Referee calls the time off. It was superb play. It was by Jordan Baldwinson with a break down the middle, and then Bradley Tagg taking to go under the sticks. Converted very quickly by Jamie Foster. And this kick-off from Centurions is going to go deep.
It certainly is going to go deep. Best thing will be out on the full with a penalty, but I'm guessing it won't. Taken well there by Kyle Briggs. Passes it to Colton Roach, but he's got to bring it away on his 10-metre line. There must be literally seconds left in this game. We don't know up here, unfortunately, how long is left.
Briggs finds man of the match, Danny Craven. That looks high. Ellis, he'll have a go from that's in half himself, almost away. Cab. Seconds left. Thackeray, Hartman, Johnson. Johnson's away. Tackled into touch, and there goes the game. In all fairness, I thought the pass to Johnson did drift slightly forward. From where I was, he looked it, but Johnson just tackled into touch. And I think that is the game, but boy, Featherstone Rovers held your... Featherstone Rovers held your heads up high, because This has been a performance of the highest quality from 1 to 17, like you said, Joanne.
Oh, it really has. I mean, to keep it going right to the end like this, you know, it shows that we haven't run out of steam. We've still got energy left, and you know, to come to Leigh, to be within 4 points of Leigh, and we've just never been able to get our noses in front or even get equal with them, have we? And they've just managed to stay ahead, and that's why they're a top of the table team. And good play by Rennie Matua there to get Kyron Johnson into touch as he was trying to beat him for speed down that right-hand touchline.
Centurions doing what they know they need to do, just taking one-man drives really now. That's all they need to do. Here's Dane Weston.
There's been all them head injuries though, haven't there?
Burns offloads. Why they're offloading, I don't know. Here's Ben Reynolds. He moves it out wide through the hands of Patterson. Here's Armstrong again. Armstrong still going offloads.
Last tackle. This is
Here's the last tackle.
Going in touches this, I tell you.
Burns dinks it over the top.
Offside.
Offside penalty for Featherstone.
Come on.
How much longer is this going to go? No. No, Featherstone are going to get one play. One play after this penalty. So, one play for Featherstone Rovers. What's this play going to be? Leigh have got everybody. Leigh have got players back. Roach, Briggs, Baldwinson, offloads to Briggs again. He offloads to Cording. Forward pass, that's the game. But boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Leigh Centurions know they have been in a game this afternoon. An absolutely outstanding effort from Featherstone Rovers this afternoon. Ultimately, we have come up short, but it started off a try for the Centurions after 23 minutes to Liam Kay, converted by Travis Burns. Andy Ellis then went over from acting halfback, which Foster could not convert. And that's as you were at half-time. It was Leigh 6, Featherstone 4 at half-time. Leigh got the first try of the second half through Greg Worthington to make it 10 points to 4 before a Jamie Foster penalty made it 10-6 interestingly. Tom Armstrong then went over for a converted try inside the last 5 minutes. Brad Tagg went over under the sticks shortly after which Foster converted. But try as for all they might, they just couldn't get over for that crucial score. But Joanne, what an effort it has been from Featherstone Rovers.
Yeah, take about 1 to 17 and the backroom staff and John Sharp, because that was an immense performance. Even though we've lost by 4 points at the Leigh Sports Village. Not many teams will come here and put a performance on like that and bring Leigh so close to being toppled. Just unfortunate that we could Leigh just had that edge. They're a top of the table side. Their multi-million pounds have been spent on them. You know, they're a quality squad. They're full-time. But our boys did great, didn't they, today?
Absolutely outstanding from 1 to 17. And we mentioned Danny Craven, man of the match this afternoon. His kicking game, in particular in the first half, has caused Leigh no end of trouble, hasn't it?
Certainly has, yeah. When you've got games like this, all you can do is have a game plan, come to them. And when I spoke to John Sharp in the middle of the week, he said that we'd be looking at just this game, and it doesn't look any further ahead. And we were talking about the run-ins that we've got. We've got this one out of the way now at Leigh. You know, it was always going to be tough. It was highly unlikely that we were going to win here. It's highly unlikely many teams are going to win here. And I was talking to one of the Leigh fans before the game today, and I don't think they've actually lost in the league here. Not obviously not in the middle eights, but just in the general league. I don't think they've lost since moving here to Leigh Sports Village. Might be wrong. I took it from a Leigh fan, but you know, if that's the case, we've done it exceptionally well, haven't we, today?
We have indeed. They certainly haven't lost here since at least the start of 2014. Rovers, though, an immaculate effort, a superb effort. Thank you for your company this afternoon, Joanne.
No problem. Thanks, Ben.
We'll be back next week for the visit of Whitehaven to the Big Fella Stadium. But it is full-time here at the Leigh Sports Village. So close for Rovers, but not quite enough. Leigh Centurions 16, Featherstone Rovers 12.